Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Aches, Pains, and Gains podcast. Yes, we're actually back again. I know we said we were back last time and the time before that, but Danny and I can't seem to coordinate our schedules. So anyway, we're back with Danny and a very special guest today, my wife, Shaelynn Johnston. Shay, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, thank you.
Welcome to the pod. She's one of a select few number of guests, so you know what. It's an honor to have you here. And in today's episode, folks, we got Shay on here to talk about her fitness and weight loss journey, where we're going to unpack kind of what sparked the change, her goals, how they've evolved over time, the role tracking played, and what progress has really looked like over that time of that goal. We're going to dive into things like mindset shifts, lessons learned, and practical advice for anyone starting out on their own journey. Now, this isn't like a prescription to apply to all people. This is just what has worked well for one individual, that some folks may glean some wisdom from someone who's actually been through it and fairly like new to the whole process in general. Danny, let's start today with the aches, pains, and gains.
God.
How you been? It's been a while.
Hey, life gets pretty busy, bro.
Things happen.
It's tough to line up sometimes.
It is. It's tough being an adult at work.
Here we are. That's right.
So what do you got for aches, pains, and gains, though?
As of late, I hate to bring it up. I don't know if it's like my lower back or the psoas or something in my oblique on my right side is tight all the time.
All the time.
And I mash it, I roll on it, I fucking twist it, I bop it. Nothing.
Squeeze it.
Nothing gets rid of it. So I may need to book an appointment with somebody.
Hey,
but
man,
like
you can come in whenever you want.
Oh, good. But like training wise, it doesn't affect it too bad. Like, you know, I could still get through a workout and everything. It's just the next day.
Yeah.
I'm a little banged up and I'm just like, oh, fuck. My lower back is just so stiff down there. But yeah, man, that's about it.
A little back pain.
Yeah.
Hey, that's back pain you earned.
I'm pushing,
no one can take that away from you.
I'm pushing 30, bro. I'm going to have back pain. It's inevitable.
Hey, listen, we got to have a back pain roundtable sometime, I think. Get some folks on the podcast.
God.
It's a universal experience. You know, folks, 80% of people will experience back pain at some point in their lifetime.
It's crazy.
So it's just part of being, it's a crappy part about being human, but not everything's all that great.
Yeah.
You know? Anything else, Dan?
Just a suffering existence.
Hey, that's okay. Why don't we toss it over to our guest here?
Hell yeah, let's go. That's all I got.
Shaelynn Johnston, aches, pains, and gains. Tell us about training. Any aches or pains as of late? How have things been?
Pretty good overall. The last few weeks I've been struggling with a under the shoulder blade pain that I don't 100% know how to address. But for the most part, it doesn't hurt when I'm at the gym. It's just when I'm trying to sleep or if I stand for too long.
Yeah. It's not like your husband's a physiotherapist or anything. You can't ask him any questions.
Never.
No.
The way it works in like a you're married to a physio kind of situation is you'll throw exercise at him. You just kind of keep, you know.
Yeah, and hope something sticks.
Yeah, hope something sticks. So you don't actually sit down and do a full like hour-long assessment.
No, he just throws cat cow at me.
And you know, most of the time it actually is pretty effective. But
cat cow is pretty good.
Cat cow, that's a timeless classic, man. Just move it. You know what I mean? A lot of the time, like physio stuff does come down to calm it down, build it back up. So exercise, pretty effective way to achieve that. But yes, continue though. So you got that. Training's been going pretty good though for you.
Yeah, I've been pretty consistent overall, and honestly, nothing really terrible at the gym. Yeah, in terms of pains, I don't know. In terms of my gains, I've been so consistent lately that every time I go, I feel like I'm at a new PR with something. So that's pretty exciting.
Hell yeah.
What's that like?
Keeps me going.
You know, she's been lifting now for over a full year consistently. So
and still riding them noob gains.
Still get some noob gains every now and then. But there's definitely some.
Yeah, my squat's pretty stagnant.
She's hitting that intermediate plateau for sure.
Yeah.
And
my deadlift keeps growing because I kind of cut it out for a few months, but it's back.
It's funny how that works, hey? Yeah. It's like when I get hurt and then I come back and then I hit a PR. It's I don't know, something about it.
606 himself.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
Anything else there, Shay, with your training? Or is that a...
No, I think that's kind of all I got.
Well, let's go move on to segment 2 then. Let's talk about... I'm not going to talk about my aches. Actually, no, fuck it. I'll get in here. It's been a while. I was just going to skip it to keep it short. Anyway, I'll keep it short though. So...
I was going to say, your training's absolutely popping off.
Training's been popping off right now. For those that have listened over the past year, some may recall that around this time last year, I hurt my knee skiing on Danny's bachelor party. We're not sure what it was up until this day. We got some reasonable suspicion or reasonable data to support that it actually may have been like an ACL sprain of some kind. Definitely something more internal than like a muscle strain, which is what I thought it was originally. And so I spent the better part of a year rehabbing that, and it took a good full year to get that to pretty much pain-free, and I just trained around it the entire time. I was not doing barbell back squatting. I was not doing sumo deadlifts. Like, it just was like different training. It was maybe more bodybuilder oriented, right? And then as of late, I went back to sumo like not too long ago. I deadlifted 260 kilos for 7 reps. Now I'm doing some heavier loads with top singles, and I pulled 280 for a single at a pretty decent RPE. I'd probably say between 7 and 8.
Someone call that 7.5.
7.5, right in the middle. And I felt pretty. That's a 2.5 kilo all-time PR at a pretty low body weight because I've been trying to cut down early for this meet I'm gonna have.
Yeah, you're like 92 right now, hey?
Well, this morning I was a little heavier. I was like 94.6, but we had a pretty high cal weekend. Hey, Shay?
Crash diet.
Worth it.
Yeah.
Rebound.
Yeah, exactly. It was worth it. It was a good weekend.
Yeah.
Shay's dad had a pretty heavy hand with some wine on Friday night, and he made steaks. So
Hell yeah.
I have a hard time holding back when there's steak and garlic bread and potatoes involved.
Yeah, only 1 kilo over, like 17 weeks out.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Money spot.
I can hover around here.
Yeah.
I'll probably just kind of keep trying to chisel it off. I want to not water cut this next time. So that's why I'm doing it.
I'm trying, bro.
I'm trying
to get there.
Yeah, I'm trying to get lower than my weight class about a week out. And then I don't have to water load, which I just can't do with my job. Because when I have a client in the room, I just can't go pee every 20 minutes. Like, it's just not feasible. Yeah. So, or I'm sitting there and I can't focus and I'm just sweating profusely because I have to piss so bad. So,
been there.
Yeah, not ideal. Not ideal at all. Anyway, moving on. Segment 2 here. Gym jams. What's everyone listening to in the gym these days? Shay, kick it off for us. Shay's got an interesting vibe in the gym right now.
I've been really into Young Gravy. I love him.
Pause. What?
Yeah. Who's that? Young Gravy and Baby Gravy.
Oh, and Baby Gravy.
Yeah. They have this album, and it's got some good songs on there that Shay's been absolutely just vibing to. I'll play it for you after.
What is what kind of music?
It's like comedic pop.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could probably think of it a little bit like...
was it Island? Not Island.
Lonely Island?
Is it like that?
It's kind of like
similar.
that, yeah. Yeah. So it sounds good. It's really catchy. It does go a bit harder. Yeah, this stuff like goes hard in the gym. I've been listening to it too on occasion. It's been on my gym rotation. So, yeah.
That's my squat playlist.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Dan, what are you listening to these days?
Okay, so this one's kind of interesting.
I want to point out something real quick here, folks, before Dan goes. I gave him
I fucking put this thing down, bro.
I gave Danny a magnetic Oreo fidget toy, and he's I've never seen him so locked in on the podcast. This is fantastic. Okay, Danny, what do you
Okay.
What are you listening to in the gym?
So as of late, I don't know if you've watched it's on YouTube. I think it's Diamond Gym, their stuff.
I have not.
You might have seen a lot of their clips on Instagram and shit.
Sure, yeah, possibly. Country?
No.
Rock and
It's like
roll.
No. It's a
Remix.
super high. It's not music, bro. Let me finish. Diamond Gym is like this gym in the States. I think it's in New Jersey, and it's crazy high intensity. Like people go there to like train, but it's just fucking shouting and shit. And I've been watching a lot of their videos.
Oh my god!
And I'm just like, dude, this is so sick. I love it.
You're listening to this while you lift?
Like, no.
Okay, all right.
No, but what has happened in like when I go train, I don't know what it is, but I've been listening to a lot more like heavier, like heavy. Not think of like Slipknot, Metallica,
yeah,
hard hitting, fat, like angrier stuff.
Yeah, some hard rock metal.
And I've been hitting my training sessions with like more intensity.
Mm.
And I honestly think it's because I've been watching this like high intensity.
And the music helps
training.
too. Yeah.
And my training sessions have been so enjoyable.
Yeah.
They're so like they're not as hard, I think.
Yep.
Like if I just go through the motions, I show up and gotta do
Just feels more challenging.
fucking sets of 520. Oh yeah, great.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. It's so what have I been listening to? This harder, angrier.
Yeah.
stuff.
Hard rock metal.
And I think it came from me watching these
Videos.
videos.
Yeah. And, every now and then there's a time and place just to crank up the tunes and get after it a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the other thing, the gym we go to, Rise, they don't play the best music from time to time.
Sometimes Spotify Shuffle gets a little lost in the sauce.
It's pretty ass, I'll be honest. But then sometimes Ethan will go up and put his playlist on.
Yep.
He's another trainer there. And it's just banger after banger after
It's
banger.
like a mixture of like rock.
Vibes are so high.
Yeah,
when
like
that
rock
happens.
and rap.
Yeah,
It's
music
like
makes a gym.
It's a nice mixture of rock
Yeah,
and rap
man.
he's got.
Yeah.
So it'd be
That's
like a
what's up.
little Eminem, little Nickelback, you
Yeah.
know? Like what else you need?
Yeah. It's
Heck
good.
yeah, dude. What have I been listening to in the gym lately? Thanks for asking, Dan. Let's I think for the most part, I've been getting back into the like cinematic battle music because I've been getting after it in the gym. So it just for me it flips a switch. I got a playlist on Spotify. It's called Battle Music, and I put that bad boy on. Stuff like that, bro. Yep. Yeah, one of my go-to artists from there is Two Steps from Hell. Transformers theme song from the 2007 one's pretty good.
You and Theron.
Oh, dude, that one just gets me
Transformers.
going. Yeah, that one's pretty good. And then I'll throw on some like harder rock and metal as well when I'm like really trying to get after it. And I'll enjoy the kind of shuffle through that and enjoy those types of things. And every now and then I'll dip back into Disturbed. That never gets old for me.
That's a classic one.
Yeah, it just goes hard all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I've been listening to. I'll do a little Young Gravy, Baby Gravy every now and then though. Like it's on one of my gym rotation playlists because it's a nice, fun, upbeat kind of rap pop style that gives you something to listen to while you're slamming your accessories.
That's insane.
So yeah, that's kind of what's
gravy.
up. Young
you
Gravy.
gotta look into him.
I'll play it for you after. Don't you worry.
Yeah, that's good.
Let's dive into the content of today's episode.
I think we did pretty good. We could wrap it up here.
Yeah, should we just call it there? It's been a crisp 12 minutes. Yeah, well, I think that's fantastic. So yeah, Shay, let's get going here. We're gonna start with a little bit of background, I guess. Maybe like tell the good folks here, like who are you, like what do you do, and all that good stuff.
Okay. Where do I start with that?
What do you do for work?
I'm a teacher.
Yep.
Yeah, just kind of early into my career. This is my third year teaching.
First off, thank you for your service. Absolutely.
God bless.
God bless these teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Sometimes.
I've heard stories, heard what she tells about her
Almost
students.
hears my stories too.
It's good. It's
all
good.
the stories.
Oh yeah.
It's what helps get me through, right? You need someone to vent to.
You do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Before that, I was an artistic swimming coach.
Mm-hmm.
And I also did swim competitively for 10, 12 years. And then I coached for about 15 years. So I was really heavily into the competitive world of artistic swimming. And I loved it. And I recently, just this year, took a step back from that, mainly because I was getting just very burnt out with having two kind of full-time jobs and I needed a break. And it's been a good break for sure.
Sure. And it's giving you more time to focus on kind of health and fitness and stuff like that too.
And focus back on myself.
Excellent.
Do you plan on going back to the swimming?
I mean, like
Like
never,
coaching
never
side?
say never, but right now I'm in a very good
You're very
place.
happy with the break?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's fair.
that's very true.
You have not expressed much remorse in terms of.
No, I think
after
I had hit a
leaving.
point where I was a little too far past being burnt out.
Yeah.
And so just having that extra time, and it's a lot that goes into coaching.
Yeah, it's more than just the
and-
coaching hours.
And it's very similar to
Yeah.
teaching in that I find I'm very overspent in just like emotional regulation and taking on others' feelings and taking on the brunt of what they're going through. And so,
Shay's very empathetic.
and that's what hits me the most, I think, is going from teaching all day where I do the same thing and then going to the same age group in the evenings. And even though they don't mean to do it, and that's not like they're kids, right? And so you take that on anyways. So
Yeah, fair enough. And then what did I guess like you got a degree in kinesiology, and I know you've spent some time in the gym previously. Like what did previous attempts at dieting or exercise kind of look like for you?
So I never really attempted to diet previously. That was never something that I'd ever considered. Being a high performance athlete until I was about 17, and because we swam such crazy hours, like I would have 3-hour practices every day of the week, sometimes twice a day. So for me, I was also like eating like crazy, and it didn't matter what I ate. Everything just kind of fell off. I was also sub 18, right? So I hadn't fully gone through, I've gone through puberty. What's the...
You weren't like a full adult.
Full adult, yes. You know, like
Were you
after...
you were still living at home?
Hmm?
Were you still living at
Yes.
home? Yeah. So I found like when I was younger, when you're living at home, you can't really diet because you're still eating all the stuff.
Mhm.
You know,
Oh, 100%.
mom and dad make it. You know, you're just eating leftovers and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so that kind of shit's impossible to track. How you
Yeah.
gonna track that?
It's tricky. It
yeah,
makes it
exactly.
difficult.
So,
Yeah.
that's
They don't even
tough.
know what they put in there.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And they don't care.
No.
Just
Oh,
love,
no.
love,
Just
and,
love.
love and kindness.
And you're not going to complain because I didn't want to start cooking either.
No,
so-
exactly. Yeah.
Cooking sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tough part of being an adult.
And I never thought
Yeah.
about it, really. Everything that went in, like I never gained weight as a kid. I never gained weight when I was 18. Like I was never super skinny. Like I always had kind of muscle and everything, which was great. But I never paid much attention to what I was eating. And even in kinesiology, my first degree, I lived at the Subway in the Pack. That was my...
The physical
Classic.
activity complex.
I'd have it for lunch. I'd have it for supper if I was there all day. Like I spent no time paying attention to what I was.
That student nutrition always
Yeah.
Suffers a little
And
bit.
I'm like, well, Subway's better than McDonald's. I don't know.
Or Harvey's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I did love a good Harvey's burger every once in a while.
Flaming Walk, they got that down there too. Dangerous. Smells too good.
I don't knock on McDonald's too bad. It's still not the worst.
not the
Yeah, I
worst.
mean, we'll get it to that. Yeah.
Calories equated.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Okay.
Just kidding.
So fair enough. And then, so what sparked you, I guess, lately to start making a bit of a change?
Lately. So I've been in and out of the gym for the last 10 years. Like I would go to the gym, but fairly infrequently, or every time I'd go, I'd try new exercises that I saw on Instagram. Because everyone's got a workout program that's there and that's promoted to essentially make you feel like if you do that program, you're instantly going to gain muscle kind
Or
of thing,
look
right?
like
Or look
her.
like the
Yeah,
person that's
yeah.
doing it.
Yep.
And so I started, like I was in the gym, but I wasn't necessarily thinking about what I was doing. I wasn't tracking my weight from what I was lifting from one day to the next.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, maybe I lifted 60 pounds last week and now I'm doing 50 this week. And I paid no mind to comparing.
Mm-hmm.
I was just happy I was in the gym.
Yep.
And then kind of, I guess the turning point for me was going into our wedding, which was very stressful. Not the getting married part, but just like
Planning it's tough. Anyone that's
planning
been
was
through
stressful.
it. Yeah.
And I definitely am someone that eats when I'm stressed. Like eating is a comfort to me. So I gained quite a bit of weight going into the wedding. And I think that was the first time that I started to kind of lose confidence in myself and looking at pictures of myself and seeing that was the only thing that I noticed was how much weight that I had gained kind of that year going into the wedding.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then that was like the the turning point, the TSN turning point where you're like, let's make a change of some kind, right?
It was, but I also didn't know what I wanted to do. Like I still was doing all of the same things. I was just thinking about it constantly.
Mhm.
I'd say the main turning point for me after that was Thomas was cutting weight. Was it last Christmas?
Yep.
It was last Christmas. Yeah.
And for me, cutting weight has always been like, because I've heard stories of him and his wrestling friends cutting weight. I've heard stories of the powerlifters cutting weight, and it's all
And you've seen me do it previously.
yes, and everything's getting cut out. It's traumatic. It's
Very, very restrictive.
Do you think there's a difference in the wording? Like there's, you got to do a weight cut versus I'm trying to diet to lose weight.
Yeah, I mean, like I think there's a cultural change between the different sports or a
Yeah.
cultural shift as well.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like the part that Shay's talking about here, like I'm not doing like what I would consider like an acute weight cut. I'm doing like a fat loss phase, right?
Yes.
Albeit a very aggressive one at the time, but it was still doing a fat loss phase. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And
all I saw was how like the first time you were doing a weight cut for
Costa Rica.
I was like, this is miserable. We're going out for supper. And he's like, I have to have a salad with chicken.
Chicken and salad, baby.
And the dressing was on the side, and he poured like just a little baby bit in there.
Just a dribble.
And I love food. So I'm this whole time thinking, there's no way that I can just cut everything that I love out of my diet. Like that's just not something that I want to do. And I don't want to be miserable day to day.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my view on what weight cutting was. Other than like I'd heard a lot of diets. I've seen diets like it's really hard to not be consumed with that in the media.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not naive in that sense either, but I didn't want to do that. I just don't have that willpower necessarily when it comes to food, cutting all those things out. So then flash forward to when Thomas was cutting last Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really upset that he was cutting around Christmas because I'm like,
she was upset that I was losing weight and suffering on my.
It wasn't about the losing weight,
2,300 calorie
I'm like,
day.
I'm like, you won't be able to eat all these foods with me. You can't have cookies that I bake, all of these things. And he goes, well, I can. I'm just not going to have 10 cookies in one sitting. And I was like, then you can't have like dinner, like turkey dinner with us, all of these things. And he goes, why can't I? And so then I was watching him and his journey through that and eating all the things I was eating and all the things that he still liked, just less of them or in moderation.
In moderation, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which was a big,
and tracked it all.
Yeah, which was a big shift for me thinking, oh, I can still eat those things.
Yeah.
It just might not be at the rate that I wanted to eat them, but I could still eat them.
Yeah.
I didn't have to give up having wine every once in a while at family dinners. I didn't have to give up having a turkey dinner. And so that's kind of the thing that maybe shifted my brain into thinking I could probably try this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was cutting through several like large events too, because it was Christmas, the holiday season, Christmas parties, New Year's,
Danny's batch,
my birthday, and then I started a new job, a new career actually.
On our batch party, we were so supportive of you.
Oh yeah, I've never been so well supportive.
It was the most.
That's all I heard was how supportive you guys were.
You know, your environment when it comes to weight loss,
yeah, man,
critical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
You know, we'll talk about it later because with how we've set up kind of mine and Shay's environment because we're both cutting right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like on the trip, like people are like, you know, like someone would go to the fridge and be like, Tommy, how many calories you got left today? I was like,
we would keep them in check.
Yeah, and then I would check my daily budget or whatever and be like, yeah, I got room for a 90 calorie Michelob Ultra or whatever. Yeah. And so like I was still consuming the bevies, but just in. You know, we picked the low calorie stuff, and
that was the main drink was the Michaels there. But
in our food choices, like, well, I guess I was, you know, I kind of planned the batch trip, but like indirectly, I wound up like just providing food for everybody that was relatively good for us, higher in protein. Yeah. You know, like we're talking about like eggs and hash browns and stuff like that for breakfast, and then you know, turkey wraps and snack, like you know, pretty filling snacks for lunch and stuff, and all those things make a difference. So
absolutely.
And so I went through all that, and then Shay was like, God damn. Doesn't actually look that bad. You didn't seem that miserable.
This is possible.
Yeah. The misery only started during the last week when, for my birthday, Shay made me a couple of chicken breasts with pepper on them, no salt, because I was cutting back
a little
my
bit of
sodium,
lemon.
a little bit of lemon, and just
some plain rice.
2 chicken breasts and plain rice.
Here, baby.
And then
happy birthday.
And she stuck the happy birthday like candles in the chicken.
Oh my God.
And it's the most bland fucking chicken I've ever seen. Like not her fault, but she was making supper that night.
That's
and
what
he
like, told me I could put on it. He said no seasoning.
This is what I need for tonight. Like this is it, you know, because it was like one of my last like bigger meals or whatever.
The Last Supper.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And then I was like, it was kind of a bit of a fast after that. So anyway, she saw me do all that stuff and was like, you know, seemed pretty not that bad sometimes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
doable.
So was it more like, was it like aesthetics? Were you just not happy with what you're seeing in the mirror? Was it health related? Like, what was it what was the kind of direction you were aiming toward?
A bit of both. I wasn't happy with how I looked in the mirror or when people took pictures of me, which made me self-conscious. And then going to the gym, I just felt like I have been working out and I've been making no progress.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the biggest thing for me too. I was like, I do want to get stronger. And I feel like I'm like, it's been over a year of me going to the gym. And at this point I was going regularly, somewhat tracking what I was doing, but there was no... like I had nothing to show for it. It felt like I didn't look any stronger.
In the weights
I wasn't lifting heavier. I was at the same place.
Nothing tangible because you weren't tracking it either, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that was really hard for me because I'm like, I'm going, but I'm not making any improvements in either direction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But so I was like, something's got to change because I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And just for some background too, folks, Shay is very food motivated. I don't know if folks are familiar with the concept of food noise, but like how much of your daily like thought budget is being spent on thinking about food and, just wanting food, wanting to like snack and stuff like that. It's a concept called food noise. And some people are just genetically more predisposed to have higher amounts. And some folks are just predisposed to have quite a bit less. Shay has a lot. And in general, when it came to us eating the same like foods, she would probably eat the same portion sizes that I was eating. And, I'm right. I mean, right now, 205 pounds and a fairly muscular male. Me and Shay have very different builds and physiologies. So I think that contributed to some of it.
And it wasn't because I was hungry that I needed to eat that much either. It was just, it was so good that I'm like, well, I'm going to put as much of it as I can on my plate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had no concept of what any
portions
were. I had no concept of how much food, like different foods were, like how many calories were in different foods. I had nothing because I had never really looked into it. I had a concept of like, oh yeah, chips and stuff will be higher calories.
Yeah.
But essentially it all worked out to just being like, oh, I know what junk food is. I know what healthier foods that I'm supposed to be eating are, but also no concept of like, even with healthier foods, I would still eat a lot of it being like, oh, well, I'm having a salad, so I can have multiple portions of this salad, right? Like not thinking calorie wise, just thinking, oh, this is lettuce and whatever, so I can have much, much more of it, even though that's not always kind of the case, right? Like,
you ever just have a salad though? You always put dressing and other things in there as well.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the calories come from that.
They rack up.
Less
Rack up.
Less than the lettuce, and it's
like the meme when you first measure a tablespoon of peanut butter and you go, oh, damn. It's like 4 times less than I was putting on things.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But like, yeah, if you're not calibrated or tuned into that, you just don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's not your fault.
No. Yeah. Which I think is a great transition into kind of the next little section here where we kind of get into this concept of tracking, which was actually really effective for Shay. But I think we should give some folks here some definitions and give them some baseline, because if we're throwing around some terms, I think it'll help frame the conversation, especially if someone's newer to the podcast or other folks that are lifting, but they haven't really focused on nutrition, before. So I guess in terms of what a calorie is, that's just a unit of energy. It kind of tells us, calories in general, when you look at a nutrition label, it just tells you how much energy is in said food, right? If you consistently eat more energy than you use, your weight tends to go up. And if you go the opposite direction, you tend to lose weight, right? This term is, I guess, if you're consistently eating more than what's called your total daily energy expenditure, that's when your weight tends to go up. And then opposite, if you're below that in a deficit, that tends to be when you go down. Now, your total daily energy expenditure is kind of made up of a couple different portions. I'll kind of simplify things for the sake of today's conversation, but it's a combination of your basal metabolic rate, your BMR, which is essentially how much your energy your body needs just to stay alive. We're talking about like organ function and digestion and stuff like that, right? Although digestion could be considered something else I'm not going to dive into, the thermic effect of food and all that, but we're not getting too nerdy here, okay? It's also a combination. So you got BMR, you got NEAT, non-exercise activity, right? And then you also have your EAT, or your exercise activity, right? So a combination of all those things in a given day, that's what makes up your total daily energy expenditure. Now, a macro, which is an abbreviation of macronutrients, there's kind of 3 of them. Folks have probably heard of these before. There's protein, there's carbs or carbohydrates, and fats. Each of those contains calories. So, a gram of protein is 4 calories. A gram of carbs is 4 calories, and a gram of fat is actually 9 calories. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And then a standardized ounce of alcohol is kind of similar to fat, but it's about 7 calories, if I'm not mistaken, in case folks are curious. So that kind of like lays some groundwork here for us. And now, Shay, kind of going back to you around this time last year, you're like, let's make a change. I remember you asking me like, how do we do this? And then I introduced you to an app called MacroFactor and tracking and body weight tracking, which is all stuff that's kind of unfamiliar to you. But how were you feeling when I kind of started gradually kind of just giving you the information on kind of how to go about this?
So I remember that we started by signing me up for Macro Factor was kind of the first thing. And we were looking at it and I was looking at the calories that I was allotted. And I remember being pretty upset with how low that it seemed. And this was without any prior knowledge of even what I had been currently eating. And I think it was set somewhere around 1,500.
It was pretty low.
It was where I started.
Been there.
And
yeah. Real quick, folks, Macro Factor, great app. What it does is it takes your nutrition data and your body weight data and essentially, like through an algorithm, determines what you should roughly be eating to be in whatever your goal is, whether it's a deficit to lose weight, a surplus to gain weight, or at maintenance to keep your weight about like the same or keep it, or just maintain it. It's self-explanatory.
Right.
So Shay, we set it to originally is just maintenance, which is what I recommend most people do for most tracking apps that use a similar or have a similar feature, because it needs the data to make informed decisions before you start giving yourself like 1,200 calories or something really, really low.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and even 15 I felt was low. Anytime it dips down that, for me this past year, it's been a challenge. But when I first started, and we first started tracking just what I was eating. So anything that I was eating, I didn't change anything. I just started tracking everything that I was having already without changing any of my habits. And it was really hard to stay in that 1,500. And I was definitely way over, and it was recalibrating for me. So I just kept tracking to what I was eating. But the biggest thing that I noticed was that I was getting maybe 50 grams of protein a day.
It's not
Whoa.
a lot.
Maybe.
That's low.
And
Sometimes it was as low as 20.
sometimes, yeah, one meal, like my supper meal would be the one that would have my protein in it, because I would have like a bagel for breakfast with butter or margarine, and then I would have some random snacky stuff for lunch, and then our supper, we were meal prepping suppers at the time, so our suppers were pretty high in protein, but that might be it. And then I'd come home from school and I'd be starving. So we'd have some chips in the cupboard, and I would have a couple handfuls of chips, and then that went satiated enough. So then maybe I would have like some goldfish, or like I would just snack on random things, or there's always little chocolate bars from different holidays.
Yep.
So I'd have 3 of those, and then I'm now full kind of, but I still have supper, and then I'm hungry again after supper because my protein was so low. So that was probably the biggest takeaway from when I started tracking. And I remember though Thomas telling me, like, with certain things, because I love coffee, I love sweets and salty snacks. Like, I'm a big snack person. So he's like, well, maybe we should start cutting out some of these snacks. And I go, I can't cut out snacks. Like, I need snacks. I can't just be
and
a
not
meal
necessarily
by
cut
meal.
them out, but like change which ones we're having.
Well, yeah, but at that, the way my brain worked when you were telling me that at the very beginning was you telling me we have to cut them out. That's maybe not
Entirely.
exactly what
There's
you
a very
said.
negative connotation attached to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But my brain immediately went, oh, I can't have these things. I can't have anything similar.
Yeah.
So even we were talking about coffee and all of because I definitely like all my coffee from Starbucks and all the sugar and stuff that's in there. And he goes, well, we could try. And even the coffee from home, I'd put quite a bit of sugar in. I had creamers that were pretty high calorie because I liked the taste. And he's like, well, why don't we try substituting? And I remember just crying.
I was like, what if we try like a sweetener, like an artificial sweetener for the coffee?
Yeah.
And then she's like originally all she heard was like, you can't have sweet coffee anymore. She just starts crying.
Which is also definitely like an insight into how my brain works.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like change. I don't like the suggestion of change, but I did work my way kind of around it. Like, I've been using a Splenda now for years, and for the year, and I actually prefer it over regular sugar in my coffee now, which is kind of crazy.
That's wild.
And I know not everyone likes like the artificial sweeteners, so I get that not everyone's going to make a thing like that. But for me, with being able to kind of do that and then still add some of my fun creamers, like that was my kind of my alternative there. And then same with the snacks. We stopped buying chips and we started buying like Crispers or like the crispy minis.
Yeah, like
And
lower calorie salty
snacks. Popcorn.
Yeah.
Popcorn, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Because I still liked my snacks. And then we started meal prepping breakfast to make sure I was getting enough protein. And we started meal prepping lunches to make sure I was getting enough protein. And the craziest thing happened in that I didn't necessarily need snacks anymore after school. Like I'd maybe have some turkey bites or some pepperoni sticks or whatever instead, and I could have 2 of them and be completely fine.
Mm-hmm.
So I had all this like built up anxiety over not being able to have chips and not being able to have these snacks after school, and how was I going to sustain myself, and my life was ruined because of this, of giving that up. And then most days I don't even have a snack.
Yeah.
Because my meals are enough. And then on days when I do want a snack, then we have alternatives that I can have, and I can have a lot of it. Like I can have a full bag of popcorn and it doesn't impact my calories as much as if I had had a full bag of chips. That would have thrown me over and I would have felt like crap the next day.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I can have a full thing of popcorn and I feel great and there's no ramifications for me the rest of the week.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was kind of the biggest shift into my thinking about it. But I definitely was an all or nothing kind of thinker previously. So whenever it was mentioned about, oh, we're going to start tracking your calories, I'm like, well, nope, I can't have anything fun anymore. I love pizza. I love burgers. And I was thinking like, well, I can't go out to eat anymore. I'm going to be miserable. And that's just not the reality of what the journey has been. I still eat out for sure once a week, sometimes more depending on what our week looks like. But I make maybe different choices. Like every time we go out, I don't always have an alcoholic beverage with my meal. Sometimes I do if I really want one, but for the most part, maybe I'll stick with water so that I can have like the burger and the fries.
Or Coke Zero.
Or a Coke Zero. I do love Coke Zero.
I love a good Coke Zero.
I love a good fridge sig.
A fridge sig. But we've been big into diet drinks too, which I find actually pretty effective at kind of killing like a sweet tooth craving.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Do you find that like you've been drinking like diet drinks and Coke Zero and stuff for so long that you can't have the regular one anymore?
It's too sweet.
It's too
way
much.
too sweet. Right?
I'm like,
I feel terrible.
Oh man,
and you're so bloated.
Yeah, exactly. The bloating
It's too much. Yeah, it's interesting how like you get like you develop like a sensitivity to like sweetness when you reduce it.
Yeah.
Well, and that was another one where I was a big Coke, like full Coke drinker.
Coke addict.
She loves that shit.
And I'm like, I can't give that up. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Like why? I enjoy my little things.
Yeah.
But switching it over, and honestly, the switch, once I started doing it, it wasn't hard.
Yeah.
And I know there's people with those intolerances to things, but I don't know. For me, it was one of those things that definitely worked.
For most people, a lot of the time, like everyone's like, oh, I don't want to do a diet. And they think of diet and they think of carnivore, keto, vegetarian, vegan, whatever.
They think of those really dogmatic ones where it's like there's you are in this guy in this diet, rail and that's it. You follow it.
Yeah, but a diet really is it's what you're eating.
Yeah.
And everyone has a diet.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, the problem with people is that they don't know what their diet is.
Yes.
That Shay didn't know how much she was actually eating.
No.
Yeah, that's very true.
The first time I tracked my meal compared to Thomas's meal, like when I put it on a scale and I put my, like shoveled it in, and for what like I was allotted for that day, let's say it was like 300 calories of whatever this food was. And I looked at Thomas, who was having like 600 calories of that same thing.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh.
That's not fucking fair.
Yeah, he's like, he gets to have so much more of this. That sucks.
And
but
it's so good. Like,
but I finished it and I was like, I'm full.
Yeah.
Which was the craziest thing for me to, the first couple of times that I did it was like, what the hell? Because I just assumed that if I wasn't eating as much as like that my eyes were always bigger than my stomach, right? Like looking at it, I want to take as much as I can. And then I don't want to waste it, which was another thing. So the mental shift with me there is, especially because we make most of our meals at home. Yeah, I'm going to have that 200 calories. I'm going to eat it. Maybe I'm still hungry. There is more food.
Yep.
Whereas before it was like, I have to take as much as I can the first time. Whereas now I'm like, well, I can take it. And if for some reason that day I am still hungry, I can go back and have seconds.
Yeah.
It's not, I just have to walk 3 steps over there. I don't have to take as much as I can.
Yeah.
The first time.
Yeah.
So those little mental things for me were hard to get over. But once I've kind of crossed that bridge, it's been kind of life-changing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you started tracking,
Mm-hmm.
or the act of tracking and being very particular with everything with the food, the weighing and all that, was it
It's like
a stressful change or
For me,
or something that you started to get used to very quickly?
it wasn't, because I really wanted to make that change. And I really wanted to see a difference and I wanted to know more about how I could get there. So when I first started, the first couple of times, I think it was just slightly stressful and being like, oh, I have to remember to do it.
Yeah.
But I was lucky that I had Thomas, and even he would, like if he was making our meal for the week, he would put it into Macro Factor for me and then send it to me. So even though he wasn't tracking at the time.
You can share recipes on Macro Factor.
Shut the fuck up.
You didn't know this?
No.
Absolutely
wonderful.
game-changing
Yeah.
feature.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I'll show you after.
Please.
Yes. Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was awesome.
Wow. I can't. Okay. Can we wrap this up? We're 40 minutes in. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll call it a day.
Yeah. We'll pick up later.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So because he was so supportive about it,
Yeah.
it didn't feel like a burden to me. And because he'd done it before, even though he wasn't doing it when I started, he was very
At
much.
this time, I was not tracking
No.
because I burnt myself out
This was after your
after
the
the
Weyburn
competition.
meet.
Yeah, after the competition that I was cutting for.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was pretty burnt out, and I just didn't want to. I just kind of weighed myself every day, and I was kind of just intuitively kind of eating and tracking that way.
Mhm.
But yeah, like it. I mean, in terms of your environment, like it does help that I'm a bit of a walking encyclopedia for some of this stuff.
Absolutely. And it'd be like, oh,
Humble.
he'd leave
Real
certain
humble.
containers out for me if I hadn't scanned them yet, or he'd bring them to me to be like, oh, you need to scan this. Like he was just very
Yeah,
helpful with my tracking.
like you got to
Yeah.
scan this, and this, or like how do you track this if I can't do this or whatever? You know,
Yeah.
just some of the experience.
So he had a lot of information. And then once I started, I really actually kind of enjoyed it. It's
Yeah.
kind of fun. It was like a little game to see how
well,
much I had.
when you start seeing progress and you start seeing that trend line,
There you get
Yeah.
motivated.
Tick
and
downward.
It compounds. Yeah.
Yes.
and then you
just-
start seeing it in the mirror.
Yeah.
Oh, it just fires you
The
up.
thing
Yeah.
for me, though, I did find that the progress was very slow,
Oh yeah,
which obviously, like, it makes sense. And because I didn't have it at like a really low deficit, because I wanted it to be something that was
Sustainable.
And
Yeah.
I didn't have necessarily a goal that was like, in 6 weeks, I need to be this weight.
Yeah.
I just knew I wanted to see a change. I wanted to get stronger. I needed to lose weight, but not under a very strict
Mhm.
timeline. So when I started, and then I was still going to the gym and I was doing all these things consistently, I was expecting, because in a lot of the things that I see again on social media, and it's like, oh, in 6 weeks, if you start doing this, you'll be, and like there's a completely different.
yeah, everything's short-term results. Yeah.
Yes. And so I'm like, okay, it's been 10 weeks and I don't feel like I've noticed any change,
Mhm.
which felt frustrating to me because I'd made some really huge changes over those 10 weeks. I was frustrated at different points, being like, there's nothing, like, I don't notice the scale. Yes, it's going down, but I don't feel like I look any different.
Mhm.
And so that took me to about, it was probably more than 10 weeks, but summer rolled around. And as I'm a teacher, I have the summer off. And so I spent a lot of time at the lake. My schedule is kind of all over the place. We were kind of still meal prepping, but I decided I didn't want to track over the summer.
Mhm.
I was going to try my best to intuitively eat, as I now had a better understanding of what my protein intake needed to be and how I could get there, etc. We kept meal prepping. And so for the most part, I felt okay there. But I did definitely gain some weight going back into September, which then I'm like, oh, I did all
It's
this work
tough in
for
the summer.
nothing. I almost went
Yeah.
back up to the same weight that I had started at. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
felt pretty upset. I'd walked every single day. I was getting at least 7,000 steps over the summer. I was going to the gym 2 to 3 times a week. And I'm like, this sucks.
Mhm.
So I'd say coming into September, I was like, well, this was all for nothing.
Mhm.
But I started tracking again. And from September to October, I just, like, all of a sudden, all of these changes, I felt like when I looked in the mirror, I was like, I'm a different person. But I didn't notice it before October.
Wow.
Going back and looking at pictures of me in the summer, I definitely look different than pictures of me the summer the year before.
Yeah.
But from what I was getting at the scale, and I wasn't really actually documenting what I looked like, it was just pictures that people would take of me in different settings, right? I wasn't taking pictures at home of what I looked like. I felt the same and I felt defeated. But going into October, I was like, holy shit, I look different. And my scale, it dropped drastically from September to October just by tracking again.
Mhm.
And then it's just significantly dropped throughout until where I am now. And I've started taking photos and videos of myself month to month. I'm not someone that wants to do it every week because then I feel like I fixate on it.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
But
There's a balance there.
to
sure.
me, because like for a month, I'll be at the same spot on the scale. So to me, I'm not making any progress. But then I go and look at myself in like a picture and I go, oh, no, there's a different body composition here. And I might be the same weight, but because I've been so
you've been lifting heavy
and every day or
weight.
like 3 times a week now for a
3
year.
times a damn week.
Which is still like, it's not a ton, but it's attainable for me. And I've been making sure that get my steps in every day, which was another huge one that I think I was not utilizing enough. I think I was getting maybe 3,000 steps a day previously if it wasn't an active
if you were going to the gym or
yes,
something. Yeah.
just for my day. And so now that's another one that I think has really helped is thinking about getting my steps and making myself more active, walking around the classroom instead of sitting at my desk. When I'm at home, getting up to go and get something every once in a while, or just moving around instead of just sitting on the couch for 3 hours, like things like that. So being more, not just focused on my gym, but being just active in general.
And like, I think the gym, that's something we should touch on a little bit too, because you've started to really enjoy the process of training, not just like the numbers of it, but like the process, and then how that nutrition change has influenced how you feel at the gym. And then as you focus on both things, you start to go like, oh yeah, like when I have this food right before the gym, I'm not feeling all that great. I'm not my best self, right? But you care about the gym. So now all of a sudden you start making changes so that you perform better at the gym.
I think all the changes kind of go hand in hand, right? I started eating better and I wanted to supplement that with going to the gym and looking better at the gym and making actual gains at the gym. So then I started tracking. Thomas made me a nice program that I've been actively following.
It does help that like I do program for her, right? You know, so she has that, she knows what she has to do. She tracks it over time. We can analyze the data and all that nerdy shit that I'm into. She's on the spreadsheet, you know? So yeah, it all kind of snowballs together, right?
It does snowball together. And it makes a huge difference being able to see that even though I can't maybe tell, like if I'm lifting something, I'm like, oh, this feels heavy. But then when I go back and I'm like, well, 3 weeks ago, I was lifting 20 pounds lighter. Yeah. So there are changes. And for me, I think because I am more of a visual person in certain things, like I like to see the graphs. I like to see the change in trends and stuff, I guess.
Number go
up.
Yeah. Number go up, make brain happy.
Because we're simple. The brain is such a funny thing. And when I look at myself in the mirror, like I still don't look at myself in the mirror and go, yeah, I've lost a lot of weight. Like I don't see that.
Yeah, body dysmorphia.
At all.
And for me and Danny, it's the opposite. We look small all the time.
I do look small all the time.
Yeah. And neither of you are small.
Well, thanks, Shaelynn. Wow. Hey, look at that.
That's very nice.
Bring her on here more often.
Yeah, no kidding.
Just pump the tires.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's been definitely more of a being able to see those numbers and to remind myself that there has been changes, and also knowing that I am a lot stronger than I was a year ago.
Yeah, what about stepping on the scale though? Like, because that's a real contentious topic these days, I think too, where people are like, you don't have to step on the scale.
They put so much value in the number, in the number that you get, and some people get fixated on it, and they I know you gotta.
It depends on the person for sure, but
yeah,
there's I think some folks will benefit from not weighing themselves every day.
Yeah.
To start with Shay, I suggested that she do it every day, no matter how it made you feel at the start.
I was someone that put a lot of value in the scale before. Yeah. Anytime I'd stepped on a scale, which wasn't frequent before.
Yeah, it was like once in every like 4 or 5 months. Yeah.
But the weight always went up.
Mm-hmm. Totally. You're eating the same food I was eating.
And I wasn't
mega surplus.
Yeah, I wasn't tracking, wasn't doing any of that. And so every time I stepped on the scale, I cried.
Yeah.
Because I saw that number.
And then with that, there's even more negative connotation to it. And you're like, fuck, I don't want to keep, every time I do, I keep trying.
Mm-hmm.
So
when he told me I had to do it every day, I'm sure I cried. I said, I can't do that.
Yeah.
How do I do it without stepping on the scale? But
we did change it to kilos though, as a little trick for folks at home.
Smaller number.
Shay doesn't have.
It's
a smaller number, and Shay doesn't know the conversion.
No, not well enough.
She knows what her body looks like and feels like at a certain number of pounds, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little
mind trick.
Little mind trick for to kind of like tweak it a little bit. Yeah.
But it is funny because I have been weighing myself pretty much every day for the last year. I think I took some time off over the summer and didn't really weigh myself every day, but for the last, even September to now, I've weighed myself every single day that we've been home, and it doesn't bother me anymore, which is and it goes up and down. That's one thing I find, because even like around my cycle, Oh my God. It doesn't, like, I will step on the scale, but it gets frustrating. I will admit I'm still frustrated sometimes because, and especially now more so that Thomas has been tracking, because the weight just falls off of him. And it's been,
That just piss you off, eh?
it does piss me off. But I think
just-
that's the difference too between men and women. Like, it's not that I can't lose it, but it is a long game. And there's so much more that goes into it than just eating less. Because also when I'm around, like on my period, I'm way more hungry than I am at any other time. And so I do definitely struggle. And so some days I give into that because I am hungry and there are different things going on in my body than a normal week. And so I do give myself a lot of grace during that time. And then some months I don't feel that, which is then it's all a whole thing. But I also gain a lot of water weight right before.
Yep. As do many women. Yeah.
So that all impacts. And then I'm going like, what am I doing wrong? I'm doing the exact same things I've been doing. And so trying to shift my mentality to be, well, it's not my fault. Like, that's just my body.
Yeah. And you focus on the trend,
Yes.
not the scale weight.
Yeah.
Because, even like a day or two of bad eating,
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned I had a pretty high calorie weekend. It was way above my TDEE, one could say. It was up there. But I know it's not going to totally throw it off track. And then that's something you learned.
And that's the biggest thing I think for me is originally I thought, okay, so if I go over my calories on this day, like I'm just chalked. Might as well might as well not record the rest of the week.
Just a written off.
Cooked.
Because the next day the scale's going to go up and I'm just back at square one.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing that I learned was definitely one bad day doesn't ruin anything.
No.
And also, like, you are going to have higher calorie days. And because I do still love food, I love having appetizers at, like, when we go to parties or like you're at like a Super Bowl party type thing. I love the appetizers. I love having chips every now and then. The biggest thing for me has been not having that in the house so that I'm not having it every day.
Huge.
But when we go to a family party or something and there are chips, and I will have chips.
Oh, yeah.
But it's okay because I know that I can treat myself kind of thing and I don't go crazy. I don't have the whole bowl.
Well, every now and then me and Shay, like, as a little treat to ourselves, all date night, watch a movie and just destroy a bag of chips.
Naturally.
So, which is actually a lot less calories than it used to be because, damn, those bags be empty lately.
Dude, straight up air.
Straight up
Good
air.
God.
Maybe for the best, but they're sure
But
charging us more for
price
less.
went up,
so.
amount went down.
But that is interesting though. Like, so I guess overall, then it kind of sounds like the number on the scale, you have control over that now, whereas before you felt like maybe
before
you didn't.
I felt like there was nothing I could do. I was like, my weight's just going to keep going up. Doesn't matter.
This is adulthood.
Life sucks.
This is late 20s to 30. Yeah.
Whereas now when I step on it, and even if it goes up, I don't feel like, oh shit, like what have I been doing? I'm just like, okay, that's where I am today. And it's been a very big mind shift for me about not freaking out. I go, like, if I look in the mirror, like, it is because my mind plays tricks on me when I look in the mirror too. But comparatively to the scale, if it goes up a little bit, I'm like, did I notice it? Do I look different than yesterday? No. Is that little bit of weight that it looks like I've gained gonna impact my whole day? Not anymore.
Danny, what do we call that? The process. You got to ride the
wave.
Got to ride the wave, baby.
It sounds like you got to get comfortable with not being so fixated on the right now. You got to zoom out.
Yep.
Take a look at everything and remember where you started to where you are right now. And like you said, there's going to be fluctuations in body weight. That's inevitable.
Yeah.
Just get used to zooming out and seeing the whole progress, everything.
And I would say that's probably the biggest thing because even week to week, like I'll go weeks where I'm at the same weight.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But then and I don't notice it as much anymore because I don't pay as close attention to what I'm logging. I still log it.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily notice if I've been at the same weight for a full week. Like I won't pay as close attention to it.
Yeah.
And then when I look back at my overall, like if it's been the full month, I'm looking at it and I go, well, my trend is still going down.
Yeah.
So I'm still in a good place. And it just depends on how much water did I drink? Did I have more salty foods this week? Where was I at? But I'm still going to the gym and I'm still getting my steps in. And so I also just feel better, which has made me want to keep doing it, like starting to get all that protein in. I was like, I feel like I have energy.
Yeah.
I used to be someone that napped every day. And I feel like I don't need to nap anymore. There's obviously special times, whatever, when you're more tired. But like for the most part, on a regular day to day, I have more energy. and I feel better going through the whole day. Like my brain's more clear. I feel like I can
You get less
do
migraines.
things. I do get less migraines. That
Isn't that
was a big
interesting?
one for me.
Yeah.
I used to have somewhere between 4 to 8 migraines a month, maybe more depending on the month. And now I'm down to probably 1 or 2 a month.
Wow.
Which
Crazy.
is insane. And that's been from me tracking. And I think because I wasn't getting enough food in to begin with, or enough of my macronutrients, right? I wasn't getting enough protein.
Yeah.
So I'm just eating random stuff.
Totally. And, we got a little neurodivergency going on in this relationship, between Shay and I. So we'll just leave it at that. But something that happens to Shay is that she'll not realize that she's actually getting really hungry until it's like too late.
Yes.
And that can spur on a headache, which depending on environmental variables sometimes, like weather and stress, that can progress into a full-on migraine too, right?
Yeah.
So that's by you changing the foods you eat, the kinds of the amounts and whatnot, and the macro and calorie distributions, it modifies the behavior for you, right? Because you're just not
Absolutely.
hungry, and you don't wind up in that state where you're depleted, and then you're like, I have to cook food now.
Yeah. That, and we chose to make, I've been making better choices with snacks. So we always do have snacks on hand for when I get in those moments where I've been either so locked in on something that now I didn't realize how
they're
hungry I was.
emergency situations,
Where the snacks that I have on hand are still better choices and will fill me up more than just like the fluffy snacks.
Are you talking like protein bars and?
Yeah, protein bars, protein shakes. We got lots of like different little meats and cheeses and stuff, like things that'll actually and
satiating.
yogurts.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yeah, those are all like really, really interesting points on my end of things too. Early on, it's tough when you're like your partner wants to engage with this new habit, but I'm into this stuff. This is like what I do for kind of work and everything.
Yeah.
And not to just like dump it all on her all at once, and just to kind of give like the reins a little bit of a pull in one direction. Be like, okay, just try this for a little bit, and we're just gonna test out the waters, and not to be like, here's what you got to do, here's everything, here's all the information you got to do. This is it, this is that, this is TDEE, this is your BMR. Not just to inundate somebody with all that information right away.
Right.
Because on my end of things, you can see both the weight increase and decrease progression over time. We see each other every single day, right? Like if anyone's going to notice, it's going to be us, right? But of course, you can't be like, "Hey, babe, I think you should lose weight." If anyone wants some relationship advice, take that one and run with that. Don't ever go down that route. But then eventually, when you were like, "Okay, how do I change this?" When the horse is led to water and they actually want to drink,
It has to come from within.
Yeah,
That's right.
You can't
100%.
force that on other people.
Yeah,
and
you can't make the horse drink. That's
and
the whole
for
saying.
me, my
That's
goal
right.
has never been to be as skinny as I can. That's not ever been
Mhm.
the goal. I wanted to be at a weight where I felt comfortable and I could actually see myself getting stronger. That was my main goal, was to get stronger, but also feel at a place where when I look in the mirror, I'm comfortable with my body.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I'm pretty comfortable with where I am. My main goal right now is just getting stronger.
Where'd you start for
competing.
weight? Yeah, so maybe competing. Where'd you start for weight again?
Ooh.
I was at 80 kilograms.
80 kilograms?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what'd you weigh this morning again? I can't.
71.0.
Fantastic.
Crazy, hey?
Fantastic.
That's like a year and 3 months of effort.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Which again, it's like, a year feels so long. But it felt like going into that when I was starting, a year feels like forever.
For sure.
But
It
a year
does.
is really not that long.
And, you need
it's
to
been
do it
something
slow.
that I am able to I am still tracking right now, but I do feel just like the amount of knowledge that I've gained from tracking all the foods that I put in my body and just having a better knowledge of what different foods actually amount to has been the best thing for me, because I do feel like when I do go off of it, I can make better choices, if that makes sense, or I'm able to more intuitively eat on days when I'm not tracking. Like when we go on vacations and stuff, I don't need to stuff my face all the time, but I can still enjoy all the foods and I can still eat out and I can still have kind of what I want. But I know where my limit more so is, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And even if the weight increases too, and the scale goes back up, you have the knowledge and the tools. You have power, the self-efficacy over going back to where you want to go.
Yeah, and it doesn't freak me out as much. Like
Yeah.
even we went away last weekend and we ate out pretty much every meal from where we were and
Yeah,
whatever.
you're traveling, you know, yeah.
And it did go back up, but I wasn't stressed because I'm like, well, we're gonna go back to eating what I'm like. We're gonna go back to meal prepping. I'm gonna go back to having my meals and my snacks. And it's more of a treat than it is like oh shit, I feel like crap now because I've set myself back. I don't think that way anymore. It's more of I don't want to say a reward to eat out, but it doesn't feel like it's I used to feel like shit every time I ate out. And not because the food made me feel that way, but just because I felt like I was failing and I felt guilty for doing it. Whereas I don't feel that way anymore about like the guilt of it. Like sometimes I do need to eat. And if eating at a fast food restaurant is the where I'm going to get my food, then that's where I'm going to get my food.
Yeah.
And because I don't eat out every single day, if I'm doing it for a week when we're on vacation or for a weekend, like it doesn't have that same impact where I'm feeling guilty the whole time that I'm away. Because that's how I used to feel.
Yeah.
Or then someone would hand me a drink and I'm like, oh, I'm going to regret this tomorrow for having this drink. Instead of being like, well, it's really fun to have one drink out with my girlfriends or whatever. So trying to shift the mindset too, that it's okay to enjoy things. Getting back to that whole moderation.
Yeah.
It's all moderation.
That's literally everything in moderation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. You have the tools now to understand like your weight, your fluctuation in weights could just be from like content in your belly that hasn't been digested yet.
Ate later in the day.
Water retention from maybe you had like chips the day before, whatever. But just getting like as soon as that happens, just get back into routine, like you say you do, and everything levels out, and you're back to smooth sailing.
It's like being more flexible in general.
Yeah.
When it comes to any like habit development, tends to be more successful in the long term than like a really rigid approach.
Absolutely.
Again, like people that take the all or nothing approach to training or nutrition, they tend to just fall off of it anytime something goes like south by just a little bit.
Yeah.
Whereas if you exercise that kind of like psychological flexibility, you can handle when life gets messy. You know what I mean? And at the end of it, you can take back the reins, or right the ship and get back on the direction you were intending to go in the first place once the storm settles back down, right? So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Any other follow-up questions there, Dan?
This one's kind of for both of you.
Little couples interview.
No. Tracking food. Do you guys, when you go to like your in-laws or your parents' place, do you get like, not weird looks, but like, are people like, oh, what are you doing? Like, why are you tracking? Yada, yada, yada. Or when you go out somewhere, with essentially the parents is what I'm getting at. Do you find that they question you, or they're like, oh, why are you tracking? Like, you don't need to track, blah, 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 blah. Like, do you think that they assign it as negative as you're obsessing over it, or are they supportive? Do they understand kind of the reasoning and stuff like that?
That question's interesting because for a long time, I would say that there was a lot of not unsupportiveness from my parents specifically, but kind of like especially when Thomas would do it before, or we'd talk about it or talk about different things, it'd be like, oh, I just can't do that. Or our lifestyle doesn't lend us the opportunity to do anything like that. But I started tracking last year, and my dad saw, because Thomas has talked to my dad about it before, but then I started it and was like, Dad, I really think you could do this.
Like you were talking to him about starting to track.
Not telling him to do it, just like,
well, Glenn
explaining and like educating essentially.
Like Shay's dad asked me like a fair number of like fitness rehab and like health related questions. You know what I mean?
That. Yeah.
Because he's into that stuff. He works out a lot and everything like that. And then eventually like Shay started doing that stuff and tracking, and then Glenn actually started tracking as well.
Wow.
After seeing Shay start to do it and seeing the success and whatnot. And
wow.
All those
so
things.
Then it definitely became less of a like taboo thing to be doing.
For sure, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
like our inner like social circle became like more accepting.
Very accepting and supportive of it.
Yeah. And in my household though, like weight manipulation has been a part of my life since I was like 12.
Yes.
You know? So like totally different.
Totally normal over there.
Very normal.
Everyone's like, oh, he's just cutting again.
Oh yeah, he's just cutting away.
Tony
again.
tosses you the sweatsuit.
Yeah.
to get
Yeah,
going.
exactly.
Get going. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Whereas that was definitely not a normal thing in my household. But even like one of the things, like my mom started buying, like she's big into like the regular Cokes also, right? But she started buying Coke Zero for us because we go over there for suppers, and I started saying that I can't have regular Coke.
Yeah.
So she started buying it for me.
Wow.
So like we got a lot of supports in our life.
For sure. Yeah,
for sure.
Wow.
Right, and like at the same time too, like people got to realize that doing stuff like this, like that, it's just like a socioeconomic luxury as well too, right? You know, if you're focused on survival, you have limited transportation, and you live in like a food desert where you don't have access to a grocery store nearby. This isn't something like folks can always feasibly like entertain, or like eating a relatively whole food diet, because goddamn, that stuff's expensive.
Oh yeah.
Like so, but you know, small changes like both in like our, you know, immediate exterior environment, like at our parents' houses and stuff like that, and then changes within our own like internal couple dynamics and the snacks we have on hand and where we hide the snacks and those types of things can make a pretty big impact, just through like the environmental changes, right? It's like if you have the chips in the house, the odds of you eating the chips go up astronomically.
Absolutely.
If you have to go to the grocery store to pick up the chips, you're likely not going to go pick up the chips. Same way with tracking too. If you like Oreos, if you're tracking everything, the odds of you taking a full row and putting that on the scale or putting them into the app, it just goes down significantly. You know what I mean? It modifies the behavior, you know?
You don't know how bad I want Oreos.
Yeah.
That was one thing for me too, is knowing that I was at my max and be like, oh, I could have a little sweet treat, and then looking at what the treat I wanted and putting it in first. And then it's saying that I'd be over by however many calories and going, is it worth it for Macro Factor to judge me like this? Even though it's not necessarily judging me, but
It's a very neutral app. Yeah.
Yes, it doesn't say anything bad
It
if I go
doesn't
over.
care about your feelings.
Well, yeah, exactly. That too.
So I'd be like, oh, is it worth it? Am I actually hungry? Do I need this snack?
Makes you second
and it would make
guess
me
it.
think instead of just going in and grabbing the Oreo, because sometimes I'm just bored hungry, and that's a big thing for me too. Is if I'm not doing anything, or if I'm sitting there watching a show, regardless of if I'm hungry or not, I want to be eating something.
Be doing something.
Yeah.
Yep. Totally.
So having that thing where I have to be like, oh, I have to put it in the app. The app's going to tell me that I'm over my calories. Do I need to be? Is it actually that I am hungry? Because there's been certain days when obviously, I do eat a little bit more because I am hungry, but
it's not like you're making like a risk to benefit analysis.
Absolutely.
Essentially. You know, you're like, man, do I need this Oreo, or is this like, you know, or any other snack? We're really picking on Oreos right now, but like, or any other good tasty food. You're like, do I need to do this, or is my goal like, does that override this drive for this snack right now? You know what I mean? So good question though, Dan. Well done.
Yeah.
Other follow-up questions?
No.
Fair enough.
No.
Okay. Well, we could probably jump to the little next section here. I guess something. Another thing too. Actually, I wanted to bring up was something that happens along the way is, without paying attention to it, you started noticing that your certain clothes fit differently, and not that people like make comments or whatever. They just started saying things like, "Oh, like have you been working out and things like that lately?" Which is funny that it's always that. You know what I mean? Because you simply just cannot outwork a really high caloric deficit or a caloric surplus. You know what I mean? So it's always like, have you been working out and those types of things? But once those things start to happen too, I think it like further encourages
motivates you.
Yeah, the behaviors that you've been engaging with, because you're seeing more tangible results than just numbers, you know?
Yeah.
Like you're like, I'm on a different belt loop, and you know, those types of things. And then you like correlate that with how you feel and what the numbers are showing, and you're like, oh wow, this works. You know, it's kind of interesting watching you go through all these little like realizations and whatnot over the past year. So, and all the little habit changes as well. So, now in terms of like if you were to like tell past Shay or somebody just starting out, like what would you kind of tell them at the beginning? You know what I mean? Like what would be something useful to hear? It's a bit of a tricky question sometimes.
It's a bit of a tricky question, because what would I have wanted to hear? Like I never wanted anyone to tell me what to do, which is like a personality thing. I don't like being told what to do. So
I think
it's
all females are like that, to be honest.
It's a pretty human
I
thing.
hear that from my wife all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's
gosh.
funny.
But with this and with starting tracking and with starting my fitness goals, like I honestly think the biggest thing for me that I would have needed to hear is that information is power. And just knowing what I was consuming and where it was at, good or not even putting a good or bad context to it, but just knowledge behind all of that. Like what do macros mean even? Because I learned it
and how do you budget?
in a kin class once, but that was years ago and I didn't hold on to it. So how do I budget for that? What does it actually mean to get your protein in instead of just taking all of these like instead of just having protein powder, like what are all of these, what else attributes to that? Like, and just knowing where I was at, because that was the other thing. I just had no clue with what I was even doing. So I think the tracking is scary if someone's telling you to start doing it. And I think especially as women, we are always told like, the goal is always to be skinnier. Like that's what it is on social media. That's what we're always told. Like if you're skinnier, you have a higher self-worth, which definitely is not true. And that's also the scary thing with when you start, because then people are like, oh, you're trying to lose weight to be skinnier. And it's like, I am, but it's not just because I want to be the smallest version of myself. Like that's not what the goal is. And I think a lot of women go through that not feeling comfortable in their body and needing to start somewhere. And to me, realizing that it didn't matter just working out of the gym, that I had to make some food changes. It was scary, but knowing that the food changes I needed to make weren't actually that drastic or that hard made it all just that much easier.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of going back to just the people think tracking is scary, but it's knowledge. And I'd find it really hard to kind of know where you need to be. And there's a lot of this intuitive eating going around, which I get it. And I think intuitive eating is great. But if you don't know where to start, like my intuitive eating is like, oh, I can have a piece of cake and I can have a full turkey dinner and I can have 2 appetizers and I can have everything I want, just little bits of it, whatever. Like that'd be my intuitive eating, which would still put me over.
Hey, your
because a little bit
like
to me
3,000,
is a lot.
it's like 3,000 calories.
Yes.
That's Shay's intuition.
Yeah.
So
like that doesn't work for me. Just saying intuitively eat. It would work better now that I have information and I know kind of basic portion sizes, what generally works for me, what it looks like on a plate. Yeah. Because the other thing is we have a lot of, like our plates are large and a lot of times, and in most houses, your plates are pretty big. And I felt like I had to fill the plate for it to be a good portion size.
That is such a good trick to use smaller plates.
Totally. And bowls.
When I'm cut and bowls.
Yes.
When I'm cutting weight for sure.
Totally.
I try to opt for the
smaller dishes.
Smaller things.
Because then it looks like more. It's the same thing when you go out for dinner and they put a little bit on one big plate. Like you go to a fancy steak place and you got a little baby steak and the potatoes and you're like, this is nothing. And then you eat it and you're rolling out of there. Like you're
Yep.
You're like, that was actually a lot. Whereas you go somewhere else and they fill the whole plate.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, this is awesome. But that's definitely way over what serving size you
way
usually
too
have,
much.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't know going into it.
Yeah.
So that's where the knowledge piece is handy. Less scary, more just knowledge, and knowledge for me to take into consideration when I am going out to eat or when I am just my day-to-day life. I don't know. I find it very
empowering.
Yeah. Because I can control it. And I know that gets... Me and Thomas had this conversation not that long ago, but the piece of like not trying to obsess over it, because it is such a fine line when you are tracking everything that you eat and not being able to eat anything outside of that, right? Like not getting so hung up on, oh, if I can't track it, then I can't eat it. And so even one of the things like Thomas was like, if you can't track it and you are still tracking, and he's like, well, put in that you had however many cheeseburgers or like, and not getting stressed out that you can't track it. Or sometimes I just take a day off where I don't track.
Yeah, like you track in like units of cheeseburger just to guesstimate how much your steak and potato meal was at the restaurant. Yeah, I do that all the time.
Okay, wait. Walk me through that.
Yeah, so like say you go for a meal,
okay,
and you don't want to put in each individual ingredient throughout the meal.
Yeah,
you know, say I'll put like 2 glasses of wine, and then a steak supper. I'm probably looking at about 1,500 calories or so.
Sure.
So I'll just track like 3 cheeseburgers until I get around that mark. And that's usually good enough. Yeah. Honestly, or like,
I've never thought of that either.
It's a great.
This is a crazy
Danny's
episode.
learning more.
This is a
than Shane
crazy
is.
episode because that's one of the things I hate.
Yeah, and it takes
Cheeseburgers,
yeah,
bro.
that's stress.
Like how do you track that?
Mhm.
You just
And
put similar
what
food.
I usually opt to is I'll take a picture and send it to fucking ChatGPT and be
Yeah.
like, "Yo,
Mhm.
guess these calories."
Well, in Macro
Yeah.
Factor and a lot of tracking apps now, they
have
do have
that
the
feature now.
AI,
yeah.
which like can be a little inaccurate, but honestly, it's,
But
it's
a
better than
guess is
nothing,
better
right?
than
Yeah.
nothing.
yeah,
That's right.
it's true. So yeah, and that
Gets
always
you in the
hel-
ballpark.
Yeah, that helps those apps with their algorithmic decision making process, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you putting something in usually helps instead of just like the app thinking that, oh, you're gaining weight on 1,500 calories. That better drop you lower,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
something like that.
How much steak and cheeseburgers have you eaten today?
Yeah, exactly. So I
Oh my god, that is
I got that from Greg Knuckles actually.
no way.
Yeah. So
Oh, that's a good one.
it's a good
Wow.
one. Yeah. So
Wow.
the underlying theme too with tracking is like the I find the similarities with like actual finances too, because me and Shay are kind of newer in the dual income household lifestyle, trying to figure out how to manage money. We got married, a couple years ago, so merged account and all that kind of stuff. Like, okay, like we want to save up for things, we want to pay down debt, all those types of deals, and we want to afford things, and we want to, figure out how can we, buy a house in the future and stuff like that. If you're just budgeting based off vibes, man, you just don't know. You don't know where your money's going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, for us, we'll be like, oh, I know we have a family dinner at the end of the week. Maybe I'll lay back on a few 100 calories here and there throughout the week, and you
can
kind of save up
allocate.
and
Yep.
allocate. Or
Yep.
you have a meal that night. You're going out for supper. Maybe I'll just have a lighter lunch and a lighter breakfast, and
Mhm.
kind of like lay back a little bit that way. And you can kind of budget your way around it and manipulate the numbers so that they work with your lifestyle, but you're still able to enjoy all the stuff that you want to enjoy, like the social experiences and whatnot of food, which is a very big part of being a human being, is the
Mhm.
social interaction surrounding food, right? It's a very like cultural and social thing that we do, right? So it's, if you can't enjoy those things, people just are less likely to succeed, I think, in whatever their weight journey, whether it's gaining or maintaining or losing, right? So yeah, it's interesting though, isn't it?
Mhm.
And we're designed to seek out like high calorie food sources. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's built into our biology
Yep.
because like
Well,
historically,
it tastes so good.
well, yeah. And then historically humans went through periods of famine and like plenty, and you kind of would ebb and sway between those things where like you go days without food while you're hunting or gathering, right? And then you'd have food, then you're going to sustain yourself for a while. And then, your body, like it has these built-in mechanisms to have you seek that out.
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes you gotta get a little uncomfortable with it. You know what I mean?
How much do you think mammoth steak way back? How many
What
calories?
are the macros on that?
Yeah. What do you think the macros were?
I'm gonna ask ChatGPT after this.
That's a good
Yeah.
question.
How much would 6 ounces of mammoth be for macros? So
Yeah.
maybe
How
similar
lean
to
was a saber-toothed tiger
yeah.
leg.
Yeah.
Leg.
Straight up.
Yeah. Jeez. We'll look it
Fantastic.
up. We'll look it up.
This is a good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. Follow-up questions though, Dan, with anything there.
I think I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
is amazing.
I think we're coming to a pretty natural close there. Any like last comments though, Shay, about the process, what you've learned, what you tell people?
You got to trust the process. That
Mm,
it's not
big
just
one.
going to happen overnight.
boom.
There's going to be setbacks. There's going to be times when you feel like you're not making any progress.
Ride
But
the
you
wave.
just have to keep going with it, and you
Yeah.
can't give up the first time that you feel like, oh, I've gained weight even though I've been eating less. And I actually find that a lot of times I actually eat more now. Like a lot of my meals are higher, or like I can eat more of what I am eating, like more calories of what I am having, because we've made more intentional choices with what our food is. And so I haven't actually really felt, especially in the last couple months, that I've
Even
had
like
to.
the overall volume of
Yes,
food?
the volume of my food.
Yeah, so
Yes.
the calories and macros wind up similar,
Yeah.
but you can fill your stomach with more.
Yes, because we've been paying closer attention, and I haven't felt like I've actually had to ever starve myself,
Yeah.
which has been like the biggest thing for me, because
Huge.
that's what I thought I was going to have to do,
Yeah.
was just be going to bed hungry every single night, and that's just simply not been the case for me.
Wow.
And I'm not doing it in a very tight time frame. I'm doing it over time to make to make it sustainable and so that I can feel more confident and keep the weight off too, right? I don't want it to just bounce back. And I mean, maybe it will, but at the same time, I also know that I have strategies now that I can come back to.
Yep.
That I understand a lot more than I did before I started. So trusting that process and just believing that what I'm doing is going to make a difference in the long run. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not in a month, but in a year, just sticking with it does definitely help.
Gotta focus on the process too. And like anytime you're making a lot of changes to your life, whether it be like finance related or food related or whatever it might be, or exercise related, because you're just trying to make a habitual change, you're always going to be met with a little bit of resistance from like the internal system because it's stressful and your body is kind of designed to avoid stress, you know, like the procrastination around studying for an exam or something like that. Those are built-in mechanisms to, you know, your body's like, ooh, that's a stressor. I don't want to do that because that could be dangerous or expensive in terms of like your metabolism or whatever, right? So you're always met with that resistance. But I always think like, or view challenges like that as the direction that you should be going. Like the resistance you meet, the obstacle, that is the path. That's the one you should be going down. Because at the end of the day, Danny, it's good to do
hard things.
Absolutely, brother.
Wow.
All right. Well, I feel like on that note, that's a great spot to start wrapping it up. Any closing remarks though, Dan?
No, this is a fantastic episode.
Yeah, it was really good.
What was your experience like here?
I had a great time.
Shay's first
This was
podcast
awesome.
ever.
First podcast ever?
Ever. I'd love to come back.
Well, in the future,
Fantastic.
Shay and I have been discussing about, you know, muscle mass and weight gain and the need for surplus. So that'd be the next phase of Shay's journey. Shay gets a little nervous look on her face right now, just thinking about gaining weight. So we'll that'll be the next thing we'll have to address.
We'll have you back after your first meet.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Coming up here in June.
Yeah. So I guess she can't really compete in June.
No,
though.
she could do August though. Bridge City.
No,
but
we're
I
gone.
can't 'cause
We're in
I'm
Italy.
gone.
Last chance.
True.
End of the year.
We go to Moose Jaw.
End of the year.
Do a little
Moose Jaw?
spa.
Oh.
Hey, compete.
I could do that one.
Yes.
Wow, you heard it here, people.
Guys, you heard it here, folks. You heard it here first. Fuck yeah, let's go.
All right, folks, we're gonna close out here. Thank you so much for listening to the Aches, Pains, and Gains podcast. You can find myself on Instagram at @ThomasJohnston_BCB. Dan, where can they find you on Instagram?
Heinz_BCB. Yep.
That's the one.
That's the one.
You can also head over to Bridge City Barbell YXC on Instagram. Reach out. Any questions, comments, concerns. We also have an Instagram account for this podcast called Aches, Pains, and Gains .podcast. If you wanted to ask any questions or reach out there. You can also like, share, subscribe wherever you're at. Get this podcast into more people's ears. Always helps. We're just trying to, give the knowledge to the people. We're people for the people, right, Dan?
Yes,
You can also head over to bridgecitybarbell.com for all your coaching needs. You can also send us a text in the comments on Spotify or wherever you're listening.
And while you're at it, you might as well write us a letter too.
Write us a letter.
What else?
There's a lot of
facts.
There's a
Send us
lot of
facts.
ways to contact us.
Yeah.
Okay. Shay, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Folks, we'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. All right. Peace.